Welcome to another Mixed Media Tuesday and to another art journal page. And today I'm going to go with the flow and show you how I make backgrounds layer after layer without having anything in mind. So today I was in a vintage mood, so I thought let's play with the distress oxides. I have no plan at this point and I'm just trying to think what I can start with. I'm looking for a combination of sprays that can be kind of muted, so no matter what I decide to do on top is going to, the background is going to make it easy to stand out. So although I have no plan at the moment, I know I want to start with sprays. And I'm just going to use some scrap paper underneath just to save the whole area from overspraying. And I'm just enjoying playing with the sprays until I'm happy with how it looks. So I started with speckled egg and Shabby shutters. I am moving the page to help the colors blend together, and you can even spray with a little bit of water on top. Now I'm working on an art journal that has thick watercolor paper inside, so it takes a lot of sprays and water really nicely. Although you see it is a little bit curved at the moment, it's going to dry completely flat. So I have just a paper towel here, and you can help it dry with your heat gun if you want, or you can let it drip and let it dry as it is. Now, it is really difficult to explain my thought process, but because today I'm not following any steps, I'm just having fun layer after layer. But I'm just going to explain what I'm thinking before every step. So maybe this is helpful for you. Now at this stage I want to show you that if you want to make it look lighter, you can definitely go over it with your paper towel, which is a little bit wet, and help the colors blend. You can even use your fingers. Just have fun. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just playing with a layer and I enjoy this layer. I don't care what will happen next. So now once that step is done, I'm going to think what I want to do on top. And just because I'm going for a vintage looking project, I decided why not, let's bring in some brown, and I'm going to spray with a vintage photo. I don't want to overwhelm the paper, the page, and I like how I can see all those little droplets all over the place. So I don't want to blend that brown. Instead, I want to add even more splattering with the same color. And now I thought let's play with layers to do an extra layer with a stencil. So I brought in one of the stencils that I have in my stash. By the way, today I'm shopping my stash and I'm using only old products that I have. So you will see many products that may not be in stock anymore, but in any case, whatever I use, I will try to link it down below, just like always. So I did some stenciling, and now with the same color, I'm just inking up the edges. Next step, I'm thinking let's do another layer, but this time let's do stamping. So I'm using jet black archival ink for this, and I went with a stamp that has a lovely lettering that looks kind of vintage. That's why I chose this one. I'm absolutely loving how it looks, but I'm thinking, let's bring in some darker color on the edges, because this is going to make it look more as a vignette and create kind of a border. And again, layer after layer. At this stage, I don't know what I want to stick on top. So with my blending brush, you see I'm just adding some darker edges. And it looks pretty, doesn't it? Now I'm going to make it even more busy. I'm adding some water. I want to let the water react with what is underneath and then dab the excess. But I wasn't really happy with the ghosting effect that I got. So I'm thinking here, let's do something else. Let's bring some definition on the page by adding some black splattering. Again, I'm just sharing today the thought process because really there are no steps in this. I'm just looking what I have in front of me and decide what I want to do next. So here I'm thinking I didn't like the ghosting effect. Let's do some extra. So I'm bringing in some stencils that I had in my stash, and with my baby wipe, I wipe off some areas. This is going to create some lifting effect, and hopefully you can see the pattern that is coming together at the background. As it dries, it's going to look even more vibrant. So look how beautiful it looks already. And with backgrounds like this one, it is really difficult to know when to stop and what to stick on top, because at this point I like it so much that I don't want to cover it up. So anyway, I am going with an extra step, and this time I want to add real texture. So I'm going with those numbers, and I'm using texture paste. This is the black opaque paste. I am going to add it just randomly here and there. Notice that I don't want to get the impression of the whole stencil, only in different areas. And then I just scrape off the excess, put it back in the jar, and you can wash the stencil while this paste is drying. Now I usually let the white splattering as a last step, but I want to see how it's going to look if I introduce some white. So that's why I'm doing this step now. However, I know that this is not going to stay as bright white as it is at the moment, because it's going to blend in with the colors underneath. Now I'm thinking the white looks nice, let's bring in even more white. So I'm going to use acrylic paint, and I grabbed an old credit card, and I'm just going to use the acrylic paint and draw some lines. You can do that with a spatula if you like, some vertical and horizontal lines. Not really thinking what I'm doing. And now at one point I'm starting scraping also, because I want to see how it's going to look. And I'm going back to all the lines that I did to scrape them off. Just an afterthought, because I am actually playing and I want to see how different techniques are going to look. You see how the white blended with what is underneath, so it's not so bright white as it was when I started. And now I'm going back to stamping, because I thought I didn't have so much definition on the border. So I'm using a text stamp in some areas of the border, just to create kind of a frame. So I'm happy with how the background looks. Now I'm thinking maybe I want to add some elements, but for the elements I need to make sure that they are going to stand out. Look how busy the background is. So I cut out some film frames, and I used the die that I had in my stash by Holtz. It's an older Sizzix die. I used craft cardstock, which is solid color, because I feel like for a busy background you need to go with solid colors on top, which are going to stand out against something really busy. And you can definitely go with black as well. It is going to stand out against a busy background too. So I'm putting this together just really quick and simple. I am using some double-sided tape at the back of those frames, and I'm going to use acetate so that I can create those little windows. And if you noticed, I did use my blending tool to ink up the edges. So although they are solid colored, by inking up the edges you help them stand out against the background. So now again, I don't know what I want to put inside. I just wanted something solid, and I decided to use those because I never used them on an art journal. So you see how my mind works. I just don't have a plan from the beginning. I always get this question if I have a plan and if I know what I want to do. So now here I grabbed another pack of things that I have in my box forever. And it's a pack of Ephemera by Holtz. So I'm going to die cut some pieces that I can put inside those film frames. So there is a die that makes sure it is a little bit bigger than the window. That's the one that I'm going to use. Cut out 2 little pieces from that ephemera and then just stick them inside my frames. I am just using glue, and now you are supposed to stick elements inside, like flowers or things that you would like to have, like insects, for example, would go great for this one. So I'm thinking, what do I have to stick inside? Let's grab again the box of old Tim Holtz ephemera packs. And here is one that I have been using again and again. It never finishes. So I'm just going to grab a few elements and see what I can do with them. This is what I like to do. I like to audition things before I stick them down. I'm thinking maybe I want to have the bird on top or maybe the butterflies on the inside. But I felt like if I put them inside, they were kind of trapped. So I didn't feel very happy about the butterflies putting them inside. So I thought, okay, let's close them up just as they are without putting anything inside. And let's have the butterflies on top of them instead. So I'm just using my Nuvo Deluxe glue to stick this down, and I like this because they give some dimension, and at the same time they do have the acetate, which looks really great as an element on top of a page. So I'm just holding them there with my tweezers so that they dry nicely. And now this ephemera pack has elements that have kind of a border all around. I don't want that for my pages. So I'm just going to trim it down with my scissors really quickly. And of course, if you don't want to do that step, you can definitely just ink up the edges like I'm doing here to cover up any borders. And I'm sure you all have some dies of butterflies or other insects that you can use in a similar composition. So now I'm going to try and see how it's going to look better. Let's say I'm going to place those two there and the butterflies on top. But I want to have something at the back, like maybe fabric. So that's why I brought in my cheesecloth. This is cheesecloth or gauze, whatever you want to call it, medical gauze. I am going to just distress the edges, make sure that I have it's not perfect anyway. And then I'm going to stick it down so that I can lay my elements on top of that. Now, by using the cheesecloth, you do add some visual texture, but at the same time it's not bulky at all, and it doesn't make the background look busy because it is white. And you will see how I'm going to knock back the white in a bit, because remember, you can always spray that and before you stick it down and give it some color, or just use your ink blending tool and go over it, which I'm going to do later on. So here I'm just going to use my glue and stick everything down. I don't apply glue all over the elements at the back, only at their centers, so that if I decide to tuck things underneath later on, I can do that. So here again, from the same die, I'm going to use the labels, and there are many labels and many words that you can use. I'm going to combine the labels with some numbers that I cut out again from the same die. And all I do is just stick them down one on top of the other. I like these labels because you can use actually metallic cardstock for the frame, and it's going to give a look of a real metallic frame. I just went with black for this project. And you can also use on the holes that has at the left and the right, you can use some eyelets if you want to introduce some metallic elements on your page. I'm not going to do it for this page, but it is definitely an option to add extra texture. So I am going to just tag them underneath, just some numbers to create layers mostly. And I like how this page is coming together, although I had no idea what I wanted to create in the beginning. I like the vintage vibe of it, I like the layers and all that crazy mess that is happening on the background. I absolutely love it. And I think that for the next time I'm going to create something colorful, since I went with vintage for this Tuesday. Now again, I grabbed a pack of old sentiments that I have for ages. These are the chipboard sentiments by Tim Holtz. I mean, I don't know, maybe 10 years I have them in my stash, and as many times as I use them, there are still plenty of them to be used. So I decided I want to use them up, all of them. Somehow I want to finish this bag, but that's why I decided to use 2 of them today. And I decided to go with Finders Keepers collection. And what I like to do with those chipboards is I peel off the top because they are very, very thick for the inside of a page in an art journal. So I'm just peeling off the top, and it's nice and thin now. All I'm going to do is to just ink up the edges, add a little bit of glue at the back and stick them down. Just make sure to ink up the edges again with the same color that we inked up the rest of the elements so that they kind of come together somehow. And also, as I stick them down, I want to bring them together, and that's why I stick that on top of the cheesecloth and at the bottom corner where there was enough space. Now here I'm knocking back the white of that cheesecloth a little bit so that it's not as bright white, and I'm thinking that that is enough. I need to stop at some point, so only finishing touches now. I grabbed my white gel pen. I'm going to add some highlights just here and there, completely optional, but I absolutely love the look, and I always do that on my pages. I'm also going to grab my black thin marker, and I'm going to outline the 2 words that I have there. Very sketchy lines, nothing is perfect here, just a beautiful mess all over the place. And that brings me to the last step that I always do. I'm going to add some white splattering. Again, look, the white splattering that I did at the back completely disappeared because it blended in with the Oxide inks. So now I'm going to make sure that these white splatters fall on top of my elements where there are no Oxide inks. So these are going to stay nice and vibrant. And here is a close-up look on the project that I did for today. You can see some close-up photos here where you can enjoy the details better. And down below in the description, just like always, you will find links to everything I used if they are still available. So I hope that you had fun today, that you got inspired. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time.